Greetings and welcome to another impressions video here at Words About Games, and today we're going to be looking at Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima is an open-world action-adventure game set in the late 13th century during the first Mongol invasion of Japan. You play as Jin Sakai, one of the last surviving samurai on the island of Tsushima, who vows to fight the Mongols and free his island from their brutal control. To do so successfully, he must question his samurai code and embrace less honourable tactics to drive the invaders from his homeland. Ghost of Tsushima feels very much like open-world comfort food. Sucker Punch have taken many inspirations from the many more successful open-world games of the past generation and adapted them to fit their samurai epic. There's a lot that feels almost immediately familiar as soon as you exit the game's prologue and start your journey as a wandering samurai across the island. It's very much a game that tasks you with ticking items off a checklist. There are a variety of tasks for you to complete as Jin, some large, others small. They all offer their own gameplay and rewards, and they all end up in your journal and as icons on the map as you explore more of the island, and you can approach them more or less in any order you see fit, depending on what type of activity you're in the mood for, and whether or not you're chasing another piece of the game's story or a specific type of upgrade. You've got main story missions which progress the overarching narrative of the Mongol invasion and Jin's personal struggles with the samurai code. Next to that are side quests tied to specific NPCs, which are multi-part side narratives focused on the progressions of side stories focused on the game's rich cast of characters. There are also mythic tales, which are long quests that unlock new combat abilities for Jin, and standard side quests that are fairly short and offer XP and allow you to build your reputation by usually slicing and dicing some Mongol baddies. There are also a whole host of fairly traditional open-world activities. Forts to be liberated, hot springs to be found to increase your HP, bamboo challenges to raise your resolve, monuments to unlock new cosmetics, crafting materials to upgrade your equipment, shrines to unlock new buff-giving charms. That's nothing new, but it has been put together in a familiarly comforting way, packaged in a world that's exciting to explore. Ghost of Tsushima is the kind of game to play when you're in the mood to make some easy progress through something. There's always an icon for something new available on your map, some new discovery awaiting your arrival. I've been playing the game in shorter chunks whenever I felt like making a bit of progress through it, and having a good time slowly building my reputation. The NPC-focused side quests and mythic tales are a particular highlight. The side characters in Ghost of Tsushima are incredibly well written, and their stories are probably more engaging than the main story itself. Tracking down a traitorous student or finding the treacherous assassins that murdered an entire noble family lead you to recruit some much needed allies in your fight against the Mongols, but it's the writing that really drives me to keep playing these quests. The main narrative and Jin's struggles with the samurai code and honour suffer from a pacing issue, which is fairly common in any open world game that offers a huge number of distractions. I can't fault the game's cinematography though, which is breathtaking. I know cinematography is probably a really strange thing to talk about in a video game review, but the way cutscenes and set pieces are shot and presented is truly magnificent. Sucker Punch have drawn heavy inspiration from classic samurai movies, such as those by Akira Kurosawa, and the result is a game with some of the best cutscenes and set pieces I've seen in a game all year. A wide-angle shot of two enemies crossing a bridge towards each other, the crashing of a lightning storm as you battle in an arena surrounded by cherry blossoms. There are some exceptional moments punctuating the more standard open-world gameplay. These inspirations are also where Ghost of Tsushima's standoff mechanic comes from. When you approach an enemy, you generally have two choices. You can stealthily approach, picking enemies off quietly, as you would in many other open-world games. Or you can stride towards them and initiate a standoff, in which you'll engage their best warrior by holding triangle, waiting for them to attack, then releasing it and cutting them down, before the real fight begins. Truth be told, I've generally avoided Tsushima's stealth mechanics where I've been able to. You've got a dagger, bow, kunai, enhanced hearing, and a smattering of other mechanics to aid you in sneakily crouch walking around enemy encampments and dispatching everyone inside one at a time. And there's nothing particularly wrong with the game's stealth mechanics, it's just something I've done dozens of times before. Stealth in this game is fine, but it doesn't particularly stand out from any games that have come before. I love the combat, however, which feels like a mixture of the parry and counter styles of the Arkham games and the defensive-focused samurai action of last year's Sekiro. You'll be faced with enemies carrying a variety of different weapons, and each will require different tactics to take down. Parrying swordsmen opens them up for a counterattack, but you'll need to dodge enemies using spears who mostly use unblockable attacks. Switching stances allows you to more easily break through shielded enemy defences, and there are usually enemies raining down arrows on you from afar, or huge hulking brutes with hammers to avoid. There are a ton of different enemy types all mixed together in each combat encounter. Each fight flows really well. Attacks are fluid, the combat itself is engaging, and pulling off a successful dodge or parry always feels satisfying. I'm always happy to simply walk up to a group of enemies and challenge them vulnerable combat, because I always walk away from combat feeling satisfied. I just wish Ghost of Tsushima had a lock on, rather than tasking me with trying to manually control the camera with the same thumb I need to attack and dodge with. I also need to make mention that the island of Tsushima is one of the most gloriously beautiful worlds I've explored in a video game in a long time, maybe ever. Feudal Japan always makes for gorgeous vistas and bright, vibrant games, but I have to give Sucker Punch all the credit in the world for bringing Tsushima alive in a way that they did. The scenery is amazing, regularly causing me to stop and look out at whatever beautiful view I've managed to stumble across in my travels, something which is amplified by an almost total lack of overbearing quest markers thanks to its wind mechanic that guides you. Ghost of Tsushima is what I would call a quintessential open world game, and it's something that it's not shy about. It's a map filled with icons that you can tackle in any order, which gives you a near constant feeling of making progress. Luckily, there's something worthwhile at just about every icon you visit. Whether it's a story mission, upgrade, or XP, there are no map icons that exist solely just to fill some space in on the map. It's this coupled with some extremely satisfying combat, interesting side characters, with compelling stories and jaw-droppingly gorgeous presentation that makes Ghost of Tsushima a fine open world game, if you're in the right mood for it. Thanks very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it or found it useful, consider sticking around here at Words About Games. Our content includes review impressions of games big and small, a weekly podcast dedicated to discussing the happenings in and around the games industry, weekly opinion videos, reactions, debate-driven top 5 and top 10 lists, a regular Hall of Fame series where we discuss our favourite games, and indie game spotlights. We also stream every Friday and Saturday at twitch.tv/wordsaboutgames. Most importantly, have a brilliant day.